Hey, welcome to The Explainer. We all know college is supposed to be this amazing time of discovery and growth, right? But let's be honest, it's also a time of incredible pressure. Well, a really groundbreaking new study out of Kashmir gives us this rare, powerful window into the mental health of students who are right on the front lines of that pressure. And honestly, the findings are a serious wake-up call.
I mean, think about it. College is a complete whirlwind of change. But what's the hidden cost of all that pressure, all that stress? That's really the core question this research is trying to answer, because you can't even begin to solve a problem until you truly understand its scope.
And to get a sense of that scope, let's just zoom out for a second. Globally, around 280 million people suffer from depression. It's one of the biggest public health issues of our time. And as we're about to see, young adults, especially students, are in a particularly vulnerable spot.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with the big picture, the global context. Then we'll dive right into this unique study from Kashmir. We're going to look at the alarming numbers they found, explore a really significant gender gap, see how all these issues are connected, and then, most importantly, talk about the path forward.
Okay, first things first, let's set the stage. Why does this research on student mental health matter so much right now?
Well, the college years are basically a perfect storm of stressors. You're juggling insane academic pressure, you're totally uncertain about your future career, you're navigating completely new social circles, and you might be away from home for the very first time. All of that together creates a high-risk environment for mental health challenges to pop up. So, knowing all that, how did researchers decide to tackle this? Well, they noticed that while mental health in Kashmir had been studied before, a really critical group was being completely overlooked.
And this is what makes this study so important. It's literally the first of its kind to zoom in specifically on college students in this region. It gives a voice to a group whose struggles have never really been measured in a systematic way before.
And their method for doing this was really straightforward, but also super rigorous. They picked out 6 different colleges, they recruited student volunteers, and then they used these standardized online questionnaires to measure levels of depression, anxiety, and stress before analyzing all that data.
And get this wasn't some tiny survey. We're talking about data from nearly 1,500 students. That means the findings give us a really credible and powerful snapshot of what's actually happening on the ground.
Okay, so what did all that data actually show? Well, this is where things get pretty sobering.
So if we look at depression, the numbers are pretty concerning. If you just combine the moderately severe and severe categories, you're looking at over 30% of students surveyed who are facing really significant depressive symptoms.
And to put that 12.5% figure for severe depression into perspective, it means that 1 out of every 8 students who took this survey was dealing with it. Just picture a classroom of 24 students. That's 3 students right there in that room. It really makes that statistic feel a lot more human, doesn't it?
But the picture for anxiety, well, that was even more alarming. As you can see from the chart, the rate of severe anxiety, that purple slice right there, was nearly double the rate of severe depression. Let's be really clear here. That's almost 1 in every 4 students. It's a staggering number, and it points to a really urgent challenge for student well-being on these campuses.
But the story doesn't stop there. Because when the researchers started filtering all this data by gender, a very clear and pretty significant pattern started to emerge.
Just take a look at this comparison. For severe anxiety, over 27% of female students reported symptoms, compared to just under 19% of male students. And that gap for high stress was also huge, with female students reporting rates over 8 percentage points higher than their male classmates.
This chart really visualizes that gender gap in a powerful way. In simple terms, what this means is that female students were nearly 1.7 times, that's 68%, more likely to report anxiety than their male peers. For high stress, they were 65% more likely. This is a major, statistically significant difference.
Now, the study didn't just look at depression, anxiety, and stress as 3 separate problems. It also explored how they interact with each other. And what it found suggests this kind of vicious cycle.
This table shows just how interconnected these conditions are. A correlation score close to 1, like that 0.8 between depression and anxiety, means they almost always show up together. For students, this can create a really nasty feedback loop. Stress triggers anxiety, which can then deepen into depression, and each condition just feeds the others, making it so much harder to break free.
So, with all of this data pointing to such a significant mental health challenge, the most important question is, what can we actually do about it?
And the great thing is, the study doesn't just diagnose the problem, it also proposes a path forward.
The researchers laid out a pretty clear toolkit for colleges. The core ideas are all about building a supportive ecosystem, with things like on-campus programs and accessible counseling. It's about teaching practical skills through stress management workshops, and it's about normalizing the conversation by creating peer support groups and even weaving mental health into the curriculum itself.
And that really brings us to the final thought. This explainer has been packed with numbers, percentages, and charts, but the study's real value is what it tells us about the actual, lived experiences of thousands of students. So, the question it leaves us with is a powerful one. How do we move beyond the data to support the individuals behind it? How do we turn these numbers back into names?